Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Oh, damn! Civil war has begun within MAGA, Donald Trump versus Elon Musk. Here's what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna cover blow by blow. We're gonna show you every step of the way. What did Elon say? What did Trump say? What did Elon say? And we're gonna pause and tell you who's right and wrong. Because on some of these comments, some of them, both of them, are very right and very wrong. So it is really interesting. This is the mother of all battles within MAGA. Who's gonna win? I have no idea. Okay, I know who's right and wrong on the different issues. I don't know who's gonna win. And I'm overall, at the end of all of it, who is more correct? That is what we're asking on TYT.com. Donald Trump or Elon Musk? And on that one, I'm not positive yet either. Let's go through the whole list and then decide at the end. So Sharon is of course gonna help me do this. Sharon, what's up first? How did this get triggered?
Well, we'll start from the beginning, Cenk. Trump made it official today. Republican couple, that was Elon Musk, President Donald Trump. So in love at one point, they are no more. They're done. Right now, they're both taking turns trashing each other publicly on social media platforms. The ones that they each own, of course. And by the way, the Epstein files are involved in this. So we'll go there, Cenk. Before we get into more details, because it does get even spicier. I mean, great hype man you are, Cenk. Did you expect, I guess the first question, and then we'll get into right and wrong, the breakup to end. Did you expect it to be so quick, this demise of a relationship?
Yeah, so I thought that given how strong both of their personalities are and how they both want to be alpha dogs, that a collision, I wouldn't say was imminent, but very likely, right? Did I think it would happen this quickly? No. It's a little bit stunning what has happened. The fact that it has devolved to the point where Musk is throwing out charges about Trump being on Epstein files. Whoa, okay, I mean, this got real. So, okay, but it started with the budget and Elon was mad about it for some reason. So let's explain that.
Yeah, so sitting alongside the Chancellor of Germany earlier today, President Donald Trump was asked about Elon's recent criticisms of the big, beautiful bill. And so that's what you're hearing in that first clip. As a refresher though, during a recent CBS interview, Musk expressed his disappointment with the bill, following it up a few days later with this post on X. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. He goes on to say, you know it. Now, of course, the president, Donald Trump, obviously doesn't take criticism well, made his dissatisfaction with the Tesla CEO clear during the press engagement, accusing him of self-interest, being butthurt. And this is what this thing devolved into. When he didn't get his way, listen.
I've always liked Elon, and that's why I was very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, the words of, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. We are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And when you look at what we're doing for small businesses, for people, for middle income people, all of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and which was a lot of money for electric vehicles, and they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles, and they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning, Mr. Secretary. That hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning.
All right, Cenk. So Elon was quick to dispute that. We'll get to that, but Do you want to weigh in now?
Yeah,
about the president?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to score one for each side here. So when Elon Musk says this bill's an abomination and it's going to add trillions to the deficit, that is correct. The Congressional Budget Office says that it will add at least $2.4 trillion to the deficit. Why? Even though it has $1.2 trillion in cuts to Medicaid and to SNAP, which hurts, of course, lower-income Americans. It has $3.6 trillion in tax cuts, the majority of which go to the very, very wealthy. So since they want to give this giant gift of $3.6 trillion in tax cuts, and yes, it's true that there is also, for the moment being, and we're going to come back to this a little bit later, tax cuts for tips and overtime as well, okay? But overall, the tax cuts make this so significant that yes, it's gonna blow a huge hole in the deficit and the debt. So score one for Elon on that, that is correct, okay? Whether he wants the tax cuts is a different question. What he actually wants is a different question, but technically on those facts, he's definitely correct. Okay, now Trump says, well, look, he wanted the electric vehicle mandate and we took it out of there. Do I believe that Elon wanted the electric vehicle mandate? Yes, I definitely believe that. That obviously affects his company. And later he complained about others getting subsidies, right? Why are we not getting subsidies for electric vehicles if oil and gas are getting? We'll get to that, right? But is Trump right that Elon probably was upset about that? Yes. Is it right to give subsidies to those electric vehicles? Look, the right and the left are both mixed on that. The left wanted the subsidies in the first place, but now it's going to Tesla, so they caught feelings over that. To me, the correct answer is take out almost all the subsidies that go to giant corporations. Why is the average American taxpayer funding the most successful, largest, richest companies in the world? They don't need our money. So I would score that one for Donald Trump. So far, we got a 1-1 tie. All right, what's next, Sharon?
All right, so they're tied up. Just want to get Elon's response to some of what Donald Trump said there. False. This bill was never shown to me once. It was passed in the dead of night. So fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. We know that's kind of true because Marjorie Taylor Greene has admitted that she did not read the bill, at least most of it. Trump continued though, also claiming Elon Musk was butthurt about Trump vetoing his pick for NASA head.
He wanted, and rightfully, he recommended somebody from that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run NASA, and I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, look, we won. We get certain privileges, and one of the privileges we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our, we'll be checking him out, seeing, but he wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And I can understand why he's upset.
I'm doing some more explaining there, Jank. So Elon was dismissive of that too. He then posted a series of old comments from the president, but first, weigh in there about NASA head. Is that what this is about?
Yeah, so here again, we got a split decision. So Elon is right that the bill came out and then they said vote on it right away afterwards. Marjorie Taylor Greene kind of hilariously said, well, oops, I didn't get a chance to read it and there's a provision I really didn't like in there. I gave her credit yesterday on the show for at least being honest about it, but she should have read the bill. So anyways, overall, did Elon know that they were gonna cut his subsidies? He probably knew, even if he didn't read the bill. That one is already a split decision, but I'll give it to Elon because it's true that the bill came out so late that almost nobody could read it in time. The lobbyists make these decisions for the politicians anyway. On the other hand, is it true that Trump would not give Elon the person he wanted as the head of NASA? Yes, that's true. And was Elon probably upset about it? Almost certainly. And he wants NASA to do more deals with SpaceX. That's going to be a little bit relevant later in some of the exchanges. And since Trump is not doing a favor to a donor, whether it's the subsidies or giving him the NASA head, that one's I'm gonna technically score it on the card here as one for each, but that one weighs heavily more in favor of Trump. By the way, if you're on the right and you think, oh, okay, good, he's saying Trump is right or Elon is right, depending on the issue, if you're on the left and you're saying, oh, I don't like you saying that either one of them is right. Well, one of them has to be right. So if it makes you feel better, you could just think, oh, Elon is wrong on that one and Trump is wrong on the other one. But either way, it comes out to the same conclusion. All right, let's go to the next round.
All right, so they're still tied up now to the old material, the historical context, we'll call it, that Elon was giving on X. Put it up. I couldn't agree more as he pulls up old statements from Donald Trump talking about no member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced. So that's got a sting in light of the big, beautiful bill. Remember this one? Real Donald Trump. Breaking, Trump just went to bat for Elon Musk outside the White House while examining the Teslas. So Elon taking a trip down a memory lane, but he was pissed, make no mistake about it, okay? Whatever, keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched, very unfair. But ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. In the entire history of civilization, there's never been legislation that both big and beautiful. Everyone knows this. Either you get a big and ugly bill or a slim and beautiful bill. Slim and beautiful is the way. They're talking about bills, politics, policy, not something else. But go ahead, weigh in on that, Jank.
Yeah.
Elon furious, and so this goes on and on.
This one's a relatively clean win for Elon. So first he mentions, hey, you said that if you can't balance the budget, you shouldn't be reelected, shouldn't be president. Well, Trump did say that, and Trump has never balanced the budget. He had a whole first term, and he put over $8 trillion on the deficit, on the debt, and it's more than any other president in American history, and he only did that in 4 years. Now this would add, as we told you earlier, $2.4 trillion to the debt. Now I don't know that Elon wants the real answer. The real answer is stop giving away all the money to the rich. Here, I'll give you one quick fact about that. People making over $500,000 a year are going to get a $1.7 trillion tax cut. Just those guys. Do they really need an extra $1.7 trillion? Okay, that's what's causing the problem with the debt. I don't know if Elon's willing to acknowledge that, but on the facts, he is right. This doesn't come anywhere near close balancing the budget, and it never will. This bill has a 0% chance of being balanced. No chance at all. Write it down in stone, I absolutely guarantee it, okay? So now, but the bigger win for Elon here is when he's pointing out oil and gas subsidies. So, and this is why I love this fight, Sharon, because they're accidentally or on purpose, just because they're fighting, exposing all of the dirty laundry of both sides. I mean, this much tea hasn't been spilled since the Boston Tea Party, okay? And so here, Elon is pointing out oil and gas subsidies. You guys know that that's about 30 billion a year? We've been giving subsidies to the oil companies for nearly 100 years straight. They're among the most profitable companies, not only now, but in the history of the world. And John and Jane Doe have to take out money from their paychecks and send it to ExxonMobil. For what? And they're not a new industry. They don't need a leg up to be able to compete. No, we give them all of these subsidies for no reason. It's a giant robbery. So on this one, clear win for Elon, so he goes up 3-2.
All right, so 3-2, corporate welfare, wow. Things got even nastier though, Jane. They did, during the same press gaggle, Trump decided to downplay Musk's role in his election win. Listen.
We've done a great job. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up in campaign for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him.
Little diversion there to the governor of Minnesota. Elon, though, Trump claimed that he was suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. So let's listen to that.
I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others, too. They leave, and they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, and you'll let us know.
Like he's talking about Elon, like he dismissed his side piece. Weigh in on this.
Yeah, so this one's complicated because on the one hand, he says that people leave and then they get Trump derangement syndrome. No, they leave with their hair on fire usually because they're like, oh my God, I didn't know he was that crazy, right? That's usually the #1 reaction. People go in super right wing, want to support Trump, and they think, oh man, this guy's got it figured out. This is going to be great. They go in there like, wait, you don't read anything? You don't, all you do is watch Fox News and play golf, and you're gonna do 145% tariff. You can't sell anything at 145% tariff. You're gonna knock it down to 50%, it doesn't matter. We can't sell anything at 50% tariff. So like if you're gonna do tariff, make it targeted, specific, long-term, etc. No, he won't listen to any reason. So that's why everybody leaves frustrated at some point, like, this knucklehead. On the other hand, is that what happened with Elon? I don't really think so. I think Elon's a different case. I think Elon didn't get some of the goodies that he wanted, and then that's part of what's caused this problem in the first place. A quick side note on Trump's attack on Tim Walz. Okay, that guy got done so dirty, Tim Walz did, mainly by Kamala Harris, who largely kept him in a basement. He's actually a populist and got a lot of good bills passed for the average person in Minnesota. We have a shirt at shoptyt.com called Balls to the Walls, which both Elon and Trump might want to buy now. Based on this balls to the walls fight. But anyway, I like Tim Walz. I don't agree with Trump on that, but that's a side note. And so, but one of the main points here that he's making is I would have won without Elon. And I think he would have won without Elon. So I got a split decision against Trump on this one, both for and against him. So I'm just gonna say that one is neutral. So let's go to the next one.
All right, so then Elon's still up 3-2, is that right, Cenk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you would have maybe docked Trump a little bit, shaved something off of his score for some of that. But okay, Elon furious beyond. So here's what he put up on his platform X. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. So remember, Elon did donate $288 million. You can get thankful for that. 2024 election. And America PAC, which Elon helped form, that was huge. Most prominent get out the vote campaign for Trump. And now Elon is seemingly suggesting a full split from Trump. So let's put it up. Is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? Okay, so these are fighting words. But of course, Trump is going to have the last laugh and prove he will always have power over Elon. So let's put up Truth Social. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. OMG. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Okay. Is he, or because Elon dropped this bombshell? Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. I don't know if we should pause there or keep going. I mean, this is beyond hostile at this point. But we'll give you a little more. Somehow it gets even messier because Elon called for Trump to be impeached. He's been through that before. Responding to Ian Miles Chung on X, he says, yes, Trump should be impeached and JD Vance should replace him. That was the tweet from Ian. Elon hasn't stopped tweeting about this since Trump made those initial comments this morning, but some other things worth noting he said include this. In light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. Okay, that's gonna have some implications for some. back and forth. The Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. Oh my goodness, this is a marathon. Clash has also caused both Elon and Trump and their market prices to drop drastically. Shares of Trump Media and Technology Group dropped 8%, Trump Coin down 12%, Tesla shares dropped 14%, losing 152.4 billion in market value, the stock's biggest one-day slide on record. Can they even afford to keep going? You know, if they keep going at this pace, right, using the biggest weapons they have against each other, who loses first, and will they both destroy each other like a nuclear bomb?
You know what this feels like? This feels like that gas station fight in Zoolander, where they were spraying the gas all over each other, and then they light something, and then right?
Hi.
Yeah, that's kind. We got a Zoolander situation on our hands here. So okay, now there's a lot to break down. So let me take it one by one as quickly as I can. So number one, Trump, Elon saying, I gave you basically $300 million. He didn't mention the number, but I gave you so much, and this is great ingratitude, and you wouldn't have won without me. I think Trump would have won without him, although it would have been harder, of course. The money definitely helped, and the publicity and all of that helped. So did Elon help? Yes. Could Trump have won without him? Very likely. He won the popular vote. He won all 7 swing states. But most importantly, no, as a big donor, you don't get to say, show me gratitude, give me subsidies, give me the head of NASA, give me whatever I want. It doesn't work that way. If you, like I backed Bernie Sanders and I didn't expect anything in return. I backed him because I liked him and I thought he was the best candidate and had the best policies and the best chance of implementing them. So saying that he's ungrateful for all of his campaign donations, which I basically consider bribery at large, is not the win that Elon thinks it is. I'm scoring that one for Trump, or mainly against Elon. So there is 3-3. Then he calls for Trump's impeachment. Look, I voted against Trump. I think some of his constitutional actions or unconstitutional actions are terrible. Sure, have at it, Hoss, but they're not gonna do impeachment. So since it's just a shot fired, but there's no right or wrong there in terms of, it's not like it's gonna happen, but I'm not counting that against Elon. That's just a random insult, nothing to score really, in my opinion. Then Trump says we should terminate all of Elon's contracts and subsidies. Well, we already have a website for that. It's called where'sourcut.com, because we say, look, if contracts are one thing, and so when Elon complains about, hey, I got a government contract with Dragon spacecraft to go to the International Space Station, that's true, and that he's providing a service. But when it comes to the subsidies, again, I don't know why we're giving to ExxonMobil, and I don't know why we're giving to Tesla or SpaceX or anyone else. So I'm not sure if SpaceX is getting subsidies, but on where'sourcut.com, we actually have all those facts for you guys. So you can look up each Elon company, and we'll put the link down below later on in the description box as well. And so I have a simple answer to that. Yeah, cut all the subsidies. Stop making the average American pay money to the largest companies in the world. And if we're gonna do that, the reason why it's called Where's Our Cut is, well, okay, then if I'm investing into your company as an American taxpayer, where's my cut? Give me a portion of Tesla, give me a portion of Starlink, give me a portion of SpaceX, give me a portion of ExxonMobil and Chevron, then we could all be rich. Oh, you don't wanna give, you only wanna take. I score that one for Trump, or basically against Elon. No, you don't get to have subsidies just because you're a donor. And so then we go to the Dragon spacecraft. Well, look, Elon's got every right to say, I'm not providing that service anymore. And now how are you gonna get to the International Space Station? And I don't know what the answer to that is, because look, there's so many things in our government that's a disaster and we can't get them to work. So I don't know that that's a win for Elon though. I mean, there's a reason why the stock price went down. Well, I mean, that was Tesla, but it's affecting all of his companies to the best that I could see. And Tesla loses $142 billion, so it's hard to give Elon the win on that. Yes, he's technically correct. He can stop that, and it would hurt America's ability to the space station, but it's also hurting his own company, so I'm gonna call that one a tie. And then on Epstein, gigantic win for Elon on that one. So, I mean, there's things that people just don't say in public, even though they're super obvious. Trump met with Epstein at least 7 times, was on his jet, I should say, at least 7 times, met with him dozens and dozens of times, has tons of pictures with him, said, oh, the only person who likes to party harder than me is Jeffrey Epstein, and he likes him young. So yeah, that might be a reason why they're not releasing the Epstein files. I think there's another reason why they're not releasing the Epstein files. Neither the Democrats or the Republicans ever released those files. There's only one lobby strong enough to make sure that neither party releases those files. If Elon Musk goes in that direction, oh Nelly, because that's a whole different level of nuclear, right? So he hasn't done that yet, but he hit Trump on the Epstein files. And it's true the Epstein files have not been released, and Donald Trump was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Major win for Elon there. We're tied at 4-4, leaving, maybe this is our last one, the recession. So is Elon right that Trump's reckless tariffs will likely cause some sort of significant economic downturn and potentially a recession in the second half of this year? Yes, I think that is likely to very likely. So that puts Elon at 5 and Trump at 4. Do we have any others, Sharon?
Look, we can keep checking the various social media channels because I'm sure they're still at it right now and we're monitoring it. But can I just ask you, this is fun scoring it as this like heavyweight bout with real implications, but my mind's going in some dark places. Trump is reckless with information, with secrets. Elon was around in some key places, just carte blanche walking through the White House. I mean, what else can he do here? He has all of our secrets. I mean, he could release more, he could do more. And then I guess the second question I have for you is anything dead 100%? I mean, little Marco Rubio is in the administration. JD Vance called Trump Hitler. And look now, that's his VP, they're back in love. Do you see any kind of reconciliation possible in the near future?
Yeah, so that's a great point. So we should definitely end on those 2 things. Number 1, can there be a reconciliation? Look, this is super ugly, right? Once you get to Epstein, it's hard to come back from Epstein, right? Calling for his impeachment. I mean, it's saying I'm gonna end all of his contracts and subsidies. This is as ugly as it gets. But Trump is a legendary flip-flopper. Nobody flip-flops like Donald Trump. I'm gonna do 10% tariffs, no 145%, nope, 50%, no 30%, back to 10%, wait, we're pausing it, no percent. I mean, it goes on and on and on, nonstop. That's the whole taco thing, right? So it isn't Tuesday, but I guess it's Taco Thursday. So could they go back to getting along? Well, they could get to an unsteady truce, and they probably will at some point. I mean, is this really gonna go on for 3.5 years where they're just bloodying each other day in, day out? That would be awesome. Okay, but I don't know that we're gonna get that lucky. So it's hard to tell here because this is as brutal and bloody a fight as I have ever seen in politics. On the other hand, Trump is the biggest flip-flopper in politics and often changes his position. And that's how he thinks you make a deal. You do super heavy-handed insults and attacks, and then you reach a deal, and then you go back to hugs and kisses. So because of Trump, it's not impossible that they could actually get back together. Elon, not known so much for that, more digging in is what he's known for. But they both have huge outsized personalities, so that's super interesting. The second thing that you mentioned that's the most important of all is the budget itself. Are they actually going to pass the budget? What are they going to do with the budget? So I know what Trump wants. Trump doesn't care about the debt or the deficit at all. Now, 1%, I mean, he's proven it spectacularly in 2 different terms. When there's an opportunity to add trillions and trillions to the debt, Trump always takes that opportunity, right? And for Elon, my guess is he loves those tax cuts, and Rand Paul is in his camp, and Rand Paul has said, oh, no, we're keeping the tax cuts for the rich. That's the most important part. He's like, if a guy could just vote for that, I'd vote for it tomorrow. Brother, that would mean that instead of adding 2.4 trillion to the debt, you added 3.6 trillion to the debt. How does that make it any better? It makes it actually worse if you voted on just the tax cuts. So my guess is Elon wants the tax cuts. but he wanted his subsidies. And even if you cut a bunch of subsidies and like here's the thing that's so frustrating, Sharon. And again, not only do Republicans not talk about it, but Democrats don't talk about it enough, and the media almost never talks about it. Why is everybody just cutting from Medicaid and SNAP, etc.? So if you're MAGA and you say, well, I want to cut from Medicaid and I want there to be a work requirement. Okay, but why don't you want to cut all of the corporate subsidies? The corporate subsidies are never mentioned. That's the hidden gem inside this fight that both sides are now finally talking about. Oh, right, where all of the waste, fraud, and abuse are is the corporate subsidies. Oh, donors give money to Trump and Biden, and then they get billions in returns, and sometimes hundreds of billions in return, right? That's where the great American robbery is. So are they gonna take out the corporate subsidies? I have it at nearly a 0% chance. Because the rich and powerful want their tax cuts and they want their subsidies, what they'll probably do is cut more from the average person. Now, there's a Republican senator talking about cutting from Medicare too. So they might cut more from the average guy. They may take out one of the tax cuts for the average person, like either on tips or overtime, but they're never gonna touch the rich and they're never gonna touch corporations. So my guess is, yes, this bill will pass. Yes, it'll get worse, not better. And yes, it will add a massive amount to the deficit and the debt. And then finally, Sharon, of course it has to be noted for the record that interesting that they were both keeping this dirty laundry secret. When, Trump, I'll say anything. Elon, I'll say anything. Well, which they did prove today, to be fair, right? But back when they were together and they were allies, they were planning that robbery together. So there was no talk of Epstein. There was no talk of Elon's subsidies. There was no talk of any of that stuff. And all of a sudden they fight and we find out they had put in a lot of subsidies for Elon. And now he might take out those subsidies and government contracts. And some had already been taken out, to be fair to Trump, like the electric vehicle one. And we find out that Elon knew about Trump being in the Epstein files all along and didn't say anything and apparently didn't mind as long as he was making money with Trump.
It's crazy. Okay, they need that. Who's that Hollywood lawyer that the stars get? Disso Queen, what's her name? Laura Wasserman Schultz. That one of them needs to like bring her on because this is bananas. It's bananas.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.